All right, we have gathered here today to talk about the Emmy race. The nominees this year are Ellie Kemper for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. She submitted Kimmy Goes to a Hotel. Laurie Metcalf for the final season of Getting On. She submitted Am I Still Me? Tracee Ellis Ross for Blackish has submitted Sink or Swim. Amy Schumer for Inside Amy Schumer has submitted Welcome to the Gun Show. Lily Tomlin for Grace and Frankie has submitted The Test. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus has submitted Mother for Veep. And she has won the last 4 years every time that she's been eligible for this role. And Veep is the incumbent Best Comedy Series winner. So to me, this feels like maybe the biggest lock of the night. Are you guys feeling the same way, or is there a chance for anyone to upset? Amanda?
Well, I think he's like a 94% percent favorite. I'd give like 2% to Laurie Metcalf and then a percentage to each of them, because the minute you think someone's like 100% lock, that's usually when something happens. And I think the reason I'm going with Laurie Metcalf is she's the only one who's ever beaten her, who has a winning record against her. She beat her 3 times in a row for Roseanne. So if that holds true, it's going to be kind of funny to lose to someone who beat you 3 times, 20 with a 20-year gap. But yeah, the only thing that makes me a little hesitant is we've never seen someone win 5 in a row. Candice Bergen couldn't pull it off, so maybe we're overconfident, but it looks like this is lined up pretty easily for her.
I agree with you. I think if there's anybody who's going to beat her, it would be Laurie Metcalf, not just because of that old Emmy rivalry of hers, which I think that we probably think about a little bit more than Emmy voters do. But it is kind of delicious that they're running against each other again. But I think Laurie Metcalf, the reason why she is, I think, our number 2 is because of her episode, which is ironically about her dealing with her mother's death, as is Louis-Dreyfus's. So there's just all these really fun parallels. But I think with Louis-Dreyfus, you have to take into account the fact that A, she has won this award 4 years in a row, and B, her show is the incumbent Best Comedy Series winner, and it just doesn't seem likely that they're going to stop checking off her name if they're going to continue voting for Veep.
Plus her show's nominated. I mean, the episode she submitted is nominated for both writing and directing.
And it's a fantastic episode, too.
I thought she was a little unlikable. I think that might, if they're watching the episodes, that might be her one kind of downfall. Is some people might go, ooh.
Right.
I love Laurie Metcalf's episode. I wrote a spotlight on her this year, and that was the one I suggested. So I was very excited when I saw that, and not the season finale, or series finale.
I think Laurie Metcalf, her episode is more dramatic than Julia Louis-Dreyfus's, though, so I would be hesitant to predict her even under the episode's mission system. I've got her in second, just like you two, but I only have her there because of the wild card factor. I mean, she has 3 nominations, so something's going on there. But I mean, she wasn't nominated for this role the last 2 years, and we're in a popularity vote. I don't see how she could possibly lose. I've got Amy Schumer in third, just because even though Amy Schumer, her show wasn't as hot this year, I don't know if Emmy voters are really keeping up with these shows year to year based on some of their winners last year, like Peter Dinklage or Mara Martindale. So maybe if they think, oh, we like her for what she did last year, then maybe she's kind of close there. Who do you guys have in third?
I have Ellie Kemper in third, just because I don't know who else to put in there. I know that's a really horrible reason, and also because I love that show. You know, it's one of my favorite comedies of the last few years, and I thought it was horrendous that she wasn't nominated last year. I think that in terms of funny, she does have a leg up on some of the other contenders, not to disparage them, but just in terms of, like we said, Laurie Metcalf's episode is very dramatic, and Dreyfus's episode, she's kind of unlikable. Kimmy Schmidt is a wonderfully likable character and totally sympathetic in this episode, and very funny too. But her show's not that popular with Emmy voters for some reason.
Yeah, I have her in third. She got a SAG nomination, which was what made me feel comfortable with, first of all, putting her in my predictions for nominations. But they don't seem to love the show. And I still laughed a little bit more during Laurie Metcalf's than I guess other people. I thought you just really feel sorry for her by the end of this. It was just really, really sad. But my one problem with Amy Schumer is we've never seen somebody from a sketch comedy show win. And if she couldn't do it last year when she had Trainwreck and everything going for her, I don't see how she can do it this year. And so I'm kind of going back to that old rule. Until it happens, until I see somebody from a sketch show win one of these, they're kind of in my bottom three.
I should also say in this episode in particular that she submitted, there's a great deal of sermonizing because it deals with the very tragic shooting that happened at a movie theater last year at a screening of Trainwreck, where these two women were shot and killed by some insane person. And so there's a segment in the episode where she's basically talking about that.
Yeah, it's topical. It was a smart idea. It was a smart submission. It just wasn't as funny as I was expecting for like a sketch comedy show.
Yeah, I thought she should have gone with the premiere, which had that Hamilton
homage,
which is also topical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was crazy funny, and I got a lot of hits on YouTube and press, so that might have been a little smarter. But I mean, Lily Tomlin did submit the drunk episode. I mean, that's usually a smart strategy, but that show is just.
Well, this is I think she's a 6-time winner, right? And she's a former governor of the Academy. So I mean, she's one of the most beloved women in Hollywood. So I think that's part of the reason why she's getting nominated for this show. And it does appeal to a certain older demographic within the TV Academy as well.
I feel the same way about her as I feel a little bit about Amy Schumer. If she couldn't win last year, I don't see them going now to her, because maybe in a popular vote it'll be easier because they're only taking off one name instead of ranking them. Mm-hmm. But again, those are the two that I just and I think Tracee Ellis Ross was very lucky getting into this category because she probably bumped Melissa McCarthy out of it there. But her episode would have been better for Anthony Anderson because he has the big scene in her episode.
Yeah, Tracee Ellis Ross just really has nothing to do in that episode. I mean, it's almost like she just pulled it out of a hat. There's no reason for her to submit that one over some other episode, I don't think. Like, it takes a while before we even get a scene with her that Anthony Anderson is not stealing the show from her, and that's when he's in the pool, so he's not even in the scene. And then Lily Tomlin and Grace and Frankie, that show, I just feel it's so dated, and like there are some performances that we've seen, like Allison Janney, where I find, or she has Ellen Burstyn in her episode, and they're able to transcend their material, whereas Lily Tomlin, I feel like maybe has not done that this year, where I can just see her, delivering those lines, all very written.
I agree about Tracee Ellis Ross, and I love the show, and I love her in it, and I'm glad she got nominated, but as far as submitting that episode, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, she had better. I think the flu one would have been better, or maybe the one where she's trying to practice psychology without a license and on her twin, something. I was like, what? I didn't even remember this one, and then I was like, ooh.
Here's hoping that Blackish writers see this nomination as a good sign, and for a couple of episodes that she can choose from that would center more on her character. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, she is really wonderful in the show as a counterpart to Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say, to be fair, Julia Louis-Dreyfus she didn't win the SAG Award this year, but she lost somebody who's not in this category, and the only other nominee who was there and is here is Ellie Kemper. And she also did not win the TCA award, but again, none of her competition is nominated here. Any final thoughts, you two?
If I were a betting man, I'd put it on Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, this is one of those categories, and I'll say this as someone who's like won a prediction contest, is that, yeah, it looks like it's going to be Dreyfus, but if you really think someone is going to win, or you really like another person and think they would be the person to upset them, put them in second, even if they're like a 50 or a 66 to 1, because that sometimes can be the difference between winning and coming in second if there is an upset. And we're thinking it's Metcalf, but you never know.